Awesome. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome back to the Stories Circle. This is the first story of October. So, Sneha Khala is here. So, I am Sneha Khala, Sneha Bakkal, and I am a doula, birth attendant. I practice in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Thane, and I love supporting pregnant mothers in their journey and labor, birth, and after birth, postpartum. So, and we love listening to birth stories. And I am specifically, I'm a storyteller by profession because I'm a teacher to toddlers. So this comes very very natural to me to listen to stories and to narrate stories. And that's the reason both of my sons, they know their birth stories by heart. So they can narrate it well. So I think that's important how we narrate our birth stories to our children. So here we have Aishwarya. Aishwarya is from Chennai. I'll tag Aishwarya as well. So Aishwarya belongs from Chennai. She works as a QA in Amazon. She loves collecting books and reading them too. Unlearning myself, she says she's unlearning herself in the mode right now. So no specific lightnings she's having, but she's embracing the journey of motherhood very well, and she's excited to share her story today. So hi Aishwarya.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining and thanks for waiting. I sorry I kept you all wait. So yeah.
Let's start, Aishwarya. So basically, we talk about your pregnancy journey, how were your births, and what do you want to give a message to the new mothers or the mothers who have had their births, and especially the VBAC mothers, okay? Because you had a cesarean first and then a vaginal birth after cesarean. And your girl is how old? 1 month old?
Yeah, the second one is 1 month old.
Okay.
Exactly.
So yeah, and you are one of those who are very new mothers, and yet you raise your hand for the story. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. So you can start
No,
with your journey. Thank you so much.
sure. So first it all started with COVID, and the journey for searching about or knowing about natural birthing started with knowing about homeschooling. So I feel like almost all mothers who are into natural birthing, or who came to know about natural birthing during the past 3-4 years, they all also follow the unlearning journey on homeschooling or unschooling, or what are the alternatives to the traditional schools that are available, and the global politics behind it. So I find it so amazing that, yeah, that way. So then I just had this much knowledge only during my first birth. And that, like, soon after my marriage, like, I didn't conceive for 5 months. It was a love marriage, so we were not, like, we were eager to get pregnant, like, so it was like that. So after 5 months I got conceived, and I was telling my husband constantly about the alternative birthing options. And it all started like a surprise conversation. See, these things are also happening, and I think I should have such a birth, is used to be my conversation initially. He was not okay for it. He didn't believe that midwifery exists even today. He didn't believe, like, I didn't know the concept of home birth at that point of time, and I didn't have people who did a home birth in Chennai at that point of time. I didn't have any contacts about them. So even I didn't know that home birth was happening. And so fully natural birthing is there. People don't induce, people don't do any IVs, and I am so allergic to hospitals. Even the smell of the hospital I don't like. I am such a person. I don't even prefer going to hospital for small stuff. All I do is home remedy. That's all. Because I've suffered a lot during my childhood because of the hospitals. So I rely mostly on the home remedies, and it has worked mostly for me. With the normal diet, I never got sick also. I never got very much sick. So I just used to be happy, and I'm an active person. I always love to stay outside. Though I'm not allowed, I love to stay outside. If I'm not allowed, I sit and daydream, watch the sky. That's all. So that is the kind of person. So I always remain active. It has kept my health good. So after my first pregnancy was super perfect. Like I was so healthy. I was like all under the numbers that the hospital would have. So whenever we went for a consultation, also the doctors wouldn't know what to say. We'll go, we'll sit. The doctors won't, every report is normal and nothing more than that. They don't even touch your belly and have some emotional connect with you or some personalized talk to you or nothing like that. It is also mechanical. And I hated visiting hospitals at that point of time. So I don't even go for monthly visits properly. I just go whenever it is required or whenever I take a scan, like that only. And I took all their supplements very regularly, and I regret very badly for that because the first trimester I took the iron supplement and folic acid. They also gave me sustain a progesterone supplement. So all that I just took, like they told, okay, doctor says we have to follow. That was the mindset. And it's a first pregnancy, so always that fear will be there where we will be lose. And about the death and birth and all, I didn't have much I didn't have people to talk about it. Like I don't have this sisterhood. I miss this sisterhood. If I had this sisterhood at first pregnancy, I wouldn't have ended up in C-section. I can be very sure of that. So, and I had a lot of childhood trauma, and all that anxiety was also lying inside me. And I didn't know I have to seek help or seek therapy or attend a session, talk to somebody, pour everything out. I don't know. I was having everything inside me, all the garbage inside me. And that affected my pregnancy really very bad. I didn't have very good experience. So I used to cry. I used to sit alone at nights. I don't sleep. Even if I get sleep, I don't sleep. Um, I was like a crazy person. So I didn't know all this is going to have a toll on my daughter at that point of time. So later on, but only thing is my journey was towards natural birthing. I was finding hospitals in Chennai which support natural birthing or water birthing and things like that. But you know what? Even though they quote themselves as we support natural birthing, we support water births. Um, when we go visit them, we didn't have a good feel at all. Me and my husband. So at one point, I started shouting. I remember that day. I was in the middle of the road, and a physiotherapist was telling me when I was asking questions, I didn't know where to start about natural birthing and whom to reach out for natural birthing. So I went to the hospital's website and I found the physiotherapist who is going to stay or support during the natural birthing time. At that time, I went in her website. She already has listed like what you should ask your care provider for natural birthing. She had a list of questions, and that helped me. So what I thought was, let us ask the same set of questions to her in addition to whatever we have in mind. I went with the list and I started asking the question. I am an anxious person. Also, I didn't have much support from my husband or my parents, and nobody has interest to unlearn about natural birthing and help me out. So even though I was looking for it, I was looking for some validation or support from my husband as well. Like I was like looking for, yeah, you're right, go ahead. This kind of statement from him constantly, because this is not even required, but I am tuned like that. It's how I was grown up. Like in my home, I used to rely on my father to even validate the decision that I am taking. It is like something very deep, right? So psychologically, a lot of things I've unlearned because of my pregnancies. So that kind of person, and this validation itself unnecessary, but I was looking for this validation, and when I didn't get, I got anxious, and I used to scold, I used to fight, I used to argue, I used to go deeper into my relationship and bring many things. And I remember the day we were returning from the consultation, and the physiotherapist told me, if you're going to be anxious like this, you won't have a very healthy baby. Your baby is going to anxious. Maybe her statement is right, But at a first sitting, when I'm trying to come out of my anxiety, she could have been more polite. She could have been polite at first. This was not like very appealing to me, and I decided I'm not going to have her during my labor. I felt that to be very judgmental, and I'm not going to have that lady. Let me birth in hospital also, but I'm not going to birth with that lady. So that is what I told my husband. And then the way I told my husband told, okay, let's go to birth village. You want to go to Kerala? Let's go to birth village. Like that. That was what he told. So I came, and then we had a very big fight. And then I told like, okay, fine. You yourself, you're agreeing to that. Let us go. That is how it started. And then we had continuous consultations with them, and we got enrolled. We were happy, and we got enrolled in the center, and then things were good. After speaking to the midwife, he was also so happy. Okay, let us do this. We will do. That is what we were having in our mind. And then we started planning, and we went to Kerala. It was so nice that actually being, I don't know that being out of town, being out of family will have greater impact on our moods. I don't know this. So the regular household, the parents, their pressure, relatives, their calls, and all that, I was out. I was totally out of them, out of that, and the regular household chores. That also I was out, and I had my own time there. So we really had very good time there as a family. Though my parents were there, but I had a really good time. So relaxed time and everything was good. Since it was a first pregnancy, I had my own time and space and all that. So after that, I got into labor correctly on 39 weeks and fifth day. So before 2 days of due date, and I had a very slow contractions at first. Like for the whole night, I had like small contractions at a different interval, and I knew, okay, this is the contraction. Okay, this was the first time. Also, I was so anxious about how I'm going to handle the pain as well. I was not ready for it. And then as the day progressed, that is the 39 weeks and sixth day, as the day as the day progressed, I knew, okay, we are going to give birth somehow. And afternoon or so, I started having regular intense contractions for every 15 minutes. And I told, and then my mucus plug came out. I tried to do all the chores. I cleaned the home and all that, and I was getting ready for welcoming the new baby. I wanted everything clean, neat, and all that. And then by night, and by evening itself, my mother and father, they were like, started asking me, you got pain, you have to go. When are you going to the center? When are you going to the center? Whenever they see me with a contraction, they'll ask this question. I'll be in contraction. I'll be handling the contraction. I know, like, I was always advised by the center and the midwives and everybody, stay at home, labor at home as much as possible, because home is your good place. I just wanted to obey them. I didn't go deeper into birth and all at that point of time. So I didn't know anything. I just relied on their Lama's classes. I attended it, and then I used to read a lot of books. I've read like all the basic books, like Ina May Gaskin's book, and how to handle pregnancy, because I had a lot of fear about labor, and I myself had a lot of doubt if I can labor. So will I be able to deliver? Will I do this? All those kind of questions. So um, that is how I used to be. So, but I didn't do anything to uh, self-validate me and come out of that self-doubt at that point of time. I didn't know that it was very much required. I was like, okay, we'll handle it in the flow. But labor is not a joke. In life, you can handle anything, but labor is something different. That is what I learned from my first birth. You can't handle it in flow. You need a lot of mental preparation. In the sense, you need to ensure you are stable. Your thoughts are stable, and you are fine mentally. You're fine before getting pregnant, and that is really important. And I didn't know that until I met Tapasya. Okay, so yeah, that's how my labor went, and we were so happy. I knew, okay, mucus plug came, my dilation has started. We are good. We will be giving birth, like all that and all. But only thing is this peer pressure. So I took a lot of pressure. Already I was taking self pressure, but my parents were also constantly asking, when are you, isn't this the right time to go? Isn't this the right time to go? Like I used to tell, like I know when to go. Please don't come and ask this question. But they were constantly asking it because they were so afraid, because they've had first child loss. Like my parents had like, yeah, a stillbirth for very first pregnancy, so they were little afraid about uh, stillbirths. So, and then and also water breaking and all that. My water didn't break at home. Then around 10:45 or so, I told my husband, like, see, I think I don't know what to do after this point. At this point, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle the contractions. Let us start to BB. I'm also having some peer pressure. I don't think my mother or father will sleep uh, properly because of this. They will always keep their ears and their mind will be here in our room. So I don't want that. I don't want that peeking in. So let us better leave. So I just left to BB at that point. So at that point and reached the center, they welcomed very beautifully. We were so happy. I was happily walking. I was doing all the exercises they told. I didn't know if that is required or not. I just blindly trusted them and I went through the flow. That's all. I never asked, like, I need this. My body is asking for this. I want to rest. I want to go. I didn't ask anything like that. But it was all respectful, gentle, and happy. Like they were also smiling. I was also smiling. No, no rush. No, nothing. So I was just doing whatever they were asking me to do. And at some point, I wanted to sit in bathtub, water tub. Sorry. So in the water tub, and then I had a very relaxed moment in the water tub. Um, and I had a pelvic exam before I got into the bathtub, but it was all asked. She asked me, like, can I do a pelvic check so I can know where we are? And then I was also curious to know where we are. So she checked and she told, like, when I came, when I entered this, I was like 5 to 6 to 7 centimeters dilation. That was my stage. And then I got into the water. I was there and it really helped me. I loved staying in the water. And then I went to like 7 to 8 centimeters dilation after water. And after water also I was made to walk, climb stairs because my daughter didn't come down. She didn't descend. So when I was in water, as my contractions progressed, at one point I was having an urge to push, but I didn't know how to push. I just like I just like I constricted myself and I just did one thing and like a bomb, the water broke. Bag alone broke. I thought the baby itself is coming, but it was not like that. I don't know. Baby will come step by step. It will take its own time. All that I don't know. Even though I attended the classes, even though I knew cardinal movements, I at that point I was like, oh yeah, baby's going. I was just going to put. That was my mindset. I was so dumb at that point, and then yeah, the water broke and my husband was witnessing it and he used to be so happy narrating about that scene. Even today I love the way he admires it. Okay, so and then after water broke, they checked the water and it was all clean. So I was made to walk, I was made to climb stairs because baby was not even at the first level of pelvis, she was very high up. So that was the thing. And then after all the trials, I was in contraction, nothing happened. And then at one point, I had the urge, like something was coming out of my vagina at one point. So that was like yellowish, pale yellowish. So, and it was just one drop. And I was told, see, meconium is coming. You're not progressing. Baby is very high up. Baby is trying to say something to us. Let us go for a C-section. She told. I don't like, see, what is a heartbeat? How does a heartbeat look? That was my question. And she told, heartbeat is fine. Um, uh, yeah, heartbeat is fine. That was scheduled. Like, see, I am mentally okay, and I want to do this very badly, and my baby is also seeming to be fine. Why don't we wait? Was my question. And then she told, okay, let's wait for another hour. I'll give you another hour, but I don't think that is going to help. But let's see. Let's wait for one more hour. And during my first pregnancy, I remember after I came out of the water tub, my husband was not well. He fell sick. I don't know. Maybe because he was also anxious or something. It's pure destiny. He was not with me throughout the contracts, and I always wanted him near. And but he was totally in the bathroom. He was like that. And at one point he was not even able to stand, I think. So he needed rest, so he was asked to sleep. I didn't know where he was. So but everything was happening here, the yellow tinge, everything came when he was not there. um and then I was trying, like, I was trying to talk to my baby, but I didn't actually connect with my baby. So I know the difference, because second pregnancy was entirely different. I was actually talking to the baby, actually interacting with the universe. I knew what I don't know. It is totally different. Yeah. Then nothing progressed, and then my husband came. He was like, as like, I was also after an hour or so. Heartbeat was still high up, like in the same place. Baby stayed in the same place where it was when I came to the center. So she didn't listen. Nothing improved. I have this cholesterase enzyme deficiency. So this happens to certain community of people, where a particular anesthesia, which is colon, that will not return the conscious after being administered. So my mother had a surgery, and she was given this. We didn't know at that point of time that we had this deficiency, but our we have heard about our family history, but we didn't take it very serious when my mother underwent a surgery. So at that point, she went to coma and she didn't return her consciousness. And then we had to do a blood transfusion to bring her back to the consciousness. So this happened, and I have already discussed this with the center, but we didn't take it very seriously. So she was telling that I don't have an ICU here. So it's better you go to a multi-specialty hospital. So you, even if you don't return to consciousness, you can be safe there. And I think you need to have a C-section, is what I was advised. And then I was transferred immediately. I didn't want to go. I wanted to wait few more hours so I can just pause and like pull myself up for the vaginal birth. But I don't know. She had some intuition, and waiting at the center might delay things if I go into an emergency state. So the midwife wanted a documentation at least, so that she can just ensure that that is the only medicine that will not work, and any other anesthesia will work. But that kind of test or documentation I don't have. I All I had was just my mother's discharge summary, which had the statement about that particular medicine. So she didn't want to take a risk. Yeah, that is agreeable. And I was immediately transferred to the hospital. Yeah, the environment was totally different. I didn't like. I was scolded for peeing in the wheelchair. I was scolded for peeing while walking. I was scolded for peeing on the bed. They were expecting me to. I was having a IV line, and they were expecting me to walk to the toilet and pee there perfectly. They were asking, like, it was so horrible. Hospital was so horrible. I already don't like, and with that mindset, I we shouldn't enter that place, right? But I had to. And once the doctor came, people were polite. People were different. I don't know. The doctor was also good, actually. So she was very polite, very gentle, and she treated me with so much respect. She asked me permission before doing a pelvic exam, and everything. So, but I was always having the tense mission. After an hour or so lying on the hospital bed, I gave up. I was totally fed up. I don't know if they gave me pitocin or not. I don't know what was running in the. Nobody just asks us. I was not even in a state of consciousness. I was constantly crying. I was handling my contractions. I was in active labor, and it was so horrible. And seeing me in that state, my husband also started crying. People like my father, mother, and my husband, they are crying, and I am also crying. Like everything became a mess at that point, and nothing. I know why. How will my baby descend after this? She didn't descend when there were gentle people around. How will she descend in this point? Like she will stay wherever she is only. So and then I gave up. Like it's no point. There is no point in me bearing this pain anymore. If this is going to end up in C-section, let it end up in C-section. I'm not waiting anymore. I just told like just take me to the theater and do whatever you want to do. That was my mindset, and I just shouted that. And then everybody came. Doctor came. Do you really want to go, or we will wait for some more time? She wanted to wait actually. She told like, since this is your first pregnancy, I think we can give it some time. That's how she told, and she made me wait for 1 hour. But I gave up. No, no, just and I didn't improve with my dilation as well. I was like I came down to 5 to 6 centimeters back. So I traveled back during my labor. Like my dilation went back, but I was having active contract, like very intense contraction. So nothing was fine. I knew, and then they took me to this C-section, and I had a cesarean, and I had a very beautiful girl child. And after that, things were fine. Postpartum care was better in the hospital. The way the nurses treated me and everything was really better. I felt a little comfortable after that. Yeah, okay, fine. We are in a good place only. In Chennai, it wouldn't have been like this. I can just say that. So a lot of judgmental stuff, questions, why you went to a center, why do you want a natural birth, you can't do this also, you can't do that also, all those questions from unknown nurses would have been there. So yeah, that would have been really miserable, but this was fine. So other thing, after this, like my husband had to handle all my relatives in and around. Like he did a very good job. I don't know. He didn't let anybody speak to me directly about the way the pregnancy went. So even till date, nobody would comment about why it was a C-section or anything to me. But all the comments were passed on to him. All the He received all the scoldings and everything. But he never brought it to me because I myself was processing it. Like I'm a person, I used to be really hard on me on all the failures. So already I have a lot of self doubt. So he was just amazing. The way I recovered very well because of him, physically and mentally, and he remained a very good support for me. And soon after my pregnancy, we didn't know the reason for the baby descending. Like there was no medical reason. Nobody was able to answer this. The doctor was like, see, certain things can't be explained in a birth. She told this. The doctor, she was like talking to us. She spent like half an hour talking to us. Um, she told this, like certain things in birth we can't explain. It happens for some reason. You just have to take it with a pinch of salt. Uh, and we were like, yeah, it's ultimately destiny. So fine. Until then, we were pestering her with questions like, why shouldn't this? And I had very good contraction. I had all the things. I am fit person. Why things? Is there some problem with my pelvis? This, that, all those questions I was asking. And then she was like, see, you might have a problem. You may not have a problem. That we can check only after few months of your recovery. We can't do anything about it right now. Even if you have a problem with your pelvis, it doesn't mean you can't have a vaginal birth. The baby will know to adjust and come out. So you needn't worry much about your body or your anatomy. You just have to give yourself some time to rest, come out of this pregnancy first, and then you can think about all these things. And that made sense. But I was constantly thinking about that. We used like why, how, and all that running in my mind. So I got obsessed, and at some point, I really wanted to get pregnant as soon as possible. I wanted to get pregnant again. I wanted to know what is happening. Why this didn't happen. That was the stage I wanted to get pregnant again, and I was like looking for resources. And luckily, around I think when I was 8 months or something, in one of the WhatsApp groups, I saw Tapasya pinging something, some conversation was happening, and I think purely it's universe that brought me in touch with her. Okay, so I was so obsessed, so to know the reasons to process my birth and all, and at that point, she herself messaged me, and she told like, I would like to know more about your birth story. We should talk about this. Like, oh, that there the sisterhood started. Like, I'm so grateful to her, and then we had like 1.5 hour conversation with no point, just to talk about my birth, and she listened patiently. I i i don't know who will do this. Like, I was like, who will do this? Like, I don't know. I had like 1.5 hour conversation, and then I remember talking to Saman also about breastfeeding, about her story. I don't know. These two people were the first I came in touch. But then Tapasya listened to me like twice. I think twice we spoke. Like, she spent like 1.5 hours with me to just to help me process my birth, and I felt so relieved after talking to her, and I don't know. She opened my eyes. She gave a different perspective about birth. She just broke my skull and gave me so much wisdom. I would say like that. Like, I don't know. And then I did. I just slowly I was able to process my birth first, and then yeah, okay, this might happen this way. Okay, this is destiny. Okay, we'll have to accept it. We'll have to accept it. And after that, she helped me process things that were happening in my mind as well. So she brought me to she brought that light into me. Like, there are mental aspects that we have to look into, there are psychological aspects that we have to look into, how my mood was, why, what should be the reason for my anxiety, how anxiety will affect the baby, and things like that. And then I was able to backtrack my birth, and I had a different version of my birth story after talking to her. And that is when I was able to process my birth story in a matured way. So and then I also had discussions with my husband, like, maybe this should be the reason, maybe this should be the reason. I think I need to work on myself a lot. So, and then I came into that mode. So now that stability came inside. So when we realize that, we become little stable, and we start observing things rather than reacting to things. So I started observing, and then I had a very bad I had a very bad day with my husband once. I had a very big fight, and I went mentally crazy back again, and I needed a therapy. So I sat with a session with Reba once, and that also was an eye opener. I should mention. So I knew all the problems are going to start with me, and it is going to end with me. So it's about how we look at it and how we perceive. That is all totally life is all about. So it was little helpful for me. And then I didn't even, with that state between me and my husband, I was doubtful if I'll get pregnant again. We didn't get a chance to conceive at all. But luckily, after this Reba session, I think something happened, and we were able to conceive. So, and then my daughter, yeah, my daughter was like 1 year and 6 months. I got conceived, and my second pregnancy started. And so I was little mindful this time that I shouldn't react to things. I should observe. And I navigated my entire pregnancy like that. I tried my best. It was little better than the first pregnancy. Just a minute, my first one woke. 1 second. I'm keeping my video off. I have to feed her. For some time, I'll keep my video off. So yeah, my second pregnancy started. I was constantly in touch with Tapasya, and then we had this WhatsApp group where we can ask anything. It's a safe space to vent out. I was like, I would be the first person to come and vent out whatever happens in my life. Like I come, I went out, and everybody they take time to respond, and that sisterhood is what I missed during my first pregnancy. Like anxiety is going to be there, reactions to the problems are going to be there. One thing is we need help handling it, validating our feelings, or at least that sharing. See, everybody's life is a mess. At least to say that, to listen that, yeah, everybody's undergoing similar stuff. So, and then that will help us trust ourselves a little better. And then yeah, second pregnancy was also a roller coaster. It was not like I wouldn't say I was very happy and all, because I was trying to convince my husband this time for home birth constantly. Constantly I used to, hey, I need a home birth, we must do a home birth and this and that. But he was not for it. He wanted to do it at the center again. And he was like, he didn't trust me, and that hit me hard. Even today I used to tell him, like, you don't trust me with respect to birth. He used to be like, you just gave birth to one child, that was C-section. You don't even know why the baby didn't descend. So with all these ambiguities, how are you even imagining that I should trust that you will be able to do it at home all by yourself? I was like, you need to support. We are pregnant in this. We are together in this, and that's why I want you to get educated. When I am not conscious and I'm not in this world during my contractions, you have to stay beside me, and you have to advocate choices on behalf of me. குடுக்குறேன்டா குடுக்குறேன் 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 கீழே போய் குடுக்குறேன். ஆண்டி கிட்ட பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன், கீழே போய் குடுக்குறேன். ஓகே ஓகே. ஆமா 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 ஆமா. Sorry guys. So and all my first trimester went again with the arguments and all, but the way I reacted to the arguments and I responded to my husband was a bit different. So I was able to contain myself, like inside that thing. Even when I lose my temper, like it like I used to the return I used to become normal little better. And I was conscious. I was attending tapasya sessions. I came to know more about birth. I had all the answers from her during those sessions, and was really helpful. And then I came in touch with many mothers during this time, like especially home birthing mothers from Chennai, and that was really surprising. So I came to know about home births are silently happening in Tamil Nadu and also in Chennai. And I came in touch with a mother who was very near to me, who was just like 10 minutes away from my home. And I badly wanted to meet her. I met her along with my husband, but still my husband was not 100% okay with the home birth. I had a little feeling that at least with this meet, my husband might come down, like he might agree to home birth, and we can do something. But that didn't work with my husband. He didn't want to take a chance. So he was like, he used to tell, like, you're experimenting yourself, your child, your health. This is not an experiment. You can't do this, you can't do that. We always used to have this argument. I don't know. Yeah, till the end I was not able to convince him for home birth. We had I didn't take any supplements during this pregnancy. And then I didn't want to take scans as well, but my husband wanted to take scans, so I just left it to his wish. Okay, fine. Okay, I didn't want to deny much. So then we took 4 scans, the basic scans alone, without any prescription. We never met doctors. Like first 2 trimesters, I met the doctor, but I was not happy. So we stopped meeting doctors. Like we felt like everything is normal. So then during the last 36 weeks, we went to Kerala, we back again, and we were waiting. One of our consultations, my fundal height was lower than usual, it seems. So they wanted to do a growth scan again. So I went for it. and then my HB was low. They wanted to infuse it. Uh, their uh, their line, like what to say, their boundary was 10.8 for HB. So I was not okay doing the HB, like iron infusion. I was okay with 9, but I couldn't convince anyone. I couldn't. I didn't want to take tension also at that point. So okay, fine. I'll do the iron infusion. I took it. I knew it is going to do bad to me, to my baby. It might do, but nobody was ready to accept that. Okay, fine. I'll do it. And then I did it. And I had the growth scan, and everything was normal. So they waited. September 4 was my due date. Correctly, I started having very slow and gentle contractions 2 weeks before my delivery. So I was able to, like, yeah, Tapasya used to tell, for VBACs, you will have like contractions, like your body will know. You'll have slow contractions even for weeks. So similarly, I had the same experience. And after those contractions, like 3 4 days before my due date, I started having intense contractions with greater intervals, like once a day, twice a day, and that improved to 4 times a day, 6 times a day, like that. And then it became very intense. Like, so I was having like intense contractions for 2 nights before my delivery continuously. I was not able to sleep. So I was already tired. And the day before I gave birth, I started having regular contractions from the morning, and I stayed to labor at home. I wanted to even do a home birth. I was trying to push the time as much as possible. My husband was worried. He took the pressure, like, will she do a home birth, or I kept him under the confusion, or we are going to go to the center. So he didn't know. He was expecting that I would do a home birth as well. But at some point, the contractions became very intense, and my mother was constantly looking at me. uh, like, she was like, when will she go? Shall I ask her if she is fine? Can I ask her if she wants to go to the center? This kind of question was running in her mind, and with the same look, she will come and stand in front of me, right in front of me. So I was like little worried. No, no, this is not going to work. If we are going to have a home birth, then we have to handle a different battle here. So I didn't want to put myself into that trouble. And I thought, like, okay, and I didn't know what to do during this intense contractions. At least my husband should be in alignment so he can make a call to Tapasya. He was like, we had a fight during the last weeks of pregnancy, and he was like, you always want to talk to Tapasya and your friend Janani for whatever reason. You will talk to them, but you will not open up to me. He was like that. And I don't know. So I didn't feel like asking him to make a call to Tapasya at that point. So I didn't want any confusion at that point of time. So I just told my husband, let us just start to the center. And then we went there. I was like 7 to 8 centimeters dilated when I went. Again, everything was gentle, everything was good. And yeah, I have already spoken to them that I need everything in my way. If I want to wait, I want to wait. If I want to walk, I want to walk. I don't want any instructions this time. And they adhere to it. They ask me, what you want to do, you can do. And then after some time of walking, I wanted to sit in the water tub. So I get some time to relax because I was having very intense contractions. I needed a break badly, and I didn't have sleep. So I went into the water. I sat there. I felt really good. And then after an hour or so, uh, they were just trying to advise me, like, just a suggestion, you needn't follow it compulsorily. If you stay in water for much time, your labor might get stalled. In a lot of VBAC moms, the dilation and the labor had reversed, is what she was telling. So I felt okay. I just wanted to consider their suggestion. Then I was like, I want to stay in water for some more time. And I stayed in water for some more time. And then, one second, one second. And then, yeah. after some time I felt like and in water, when I had contractions, I had the urge to poop. So that was happening, and I didn't know what all that meant. But after that, I just felt like, okay, let's get out of the tub and let's go for a walk. And I told them, and then I started walking. Uh, I started walking, and then after a few walks, like I came back to bed. I was trying to poop constantly, and then there were like urges to push, but not completely. It be like pushing, but it is not actual pushing. So I didn't know how to describe. I have never pushed, so it was like a half baked knowledge. I didn't know how it actually feels to push. So I was just trying something, and then they told like conserve your energy, don't put all the energy into your pushing. I got confused. Now should I push or should I not push? I feel like pooping. And I was doing it like pushing. So I didn't know what I was doing, and then at some point I was asked to walk again. I was asked to climb stairs again. I thought that I was not making progress again. Nothing was happening again. Because their expressions were also a little weird. So, you want to see the auntie? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then and also my mind was having all these otherwise things, negative things, or not negative, like the otherwise things that we don't like that might happen in a center or an institution. So there is nothing wrong in those happening, because they are running an institution and they are time bound. They have employees who do their work and they need rest and all that. So we can't expect okay, baby. Okay. They can't expect it. We can't expect a typical home birth being at a center. So I think I was trying to at least achieve the best out of what I can do there. But their mindset and their thing were not aligned with that. So I had to talk like, I don't want this, I don't want that. I had to tell them. They knew it very well ahead. So this gap was always there during the entire time I stayed there. So this happened, and then I was little confused. I was little confused at that point. Even at that point, I was little confused. And then when I didn't make any progress, because that was my understanding, I just asked the midwife if like, can I go back home? If I'm not making any progress, let me go back home so that I'll make some progress there at home, and then I'll come back. And she was like, what are you telling? The baby is at your vagina, like vaginal opening. She's already there. You just have to push your baby out. You just have to do your job. And you're already fully dilated. Now, I can't send you back home. How will I send a mother at this point? And I was like, oh, I'm already dilated. Oh, the baby is there. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I misunderstood. She had told me already. Aeroplane, yes. She had told me already, but I didn't have that. I was not in that mental state to take that. And then I was little happy. Okay, we have made some progress. We are good only. And then I was trying to, for every contractions, I was having the urge and I was trying to push, but nothing happened in my vaginal area. Though I had a pain, I was having the intention to poop, but I was not having that feeling of vagina expanding or opening up or nothing. But the baby is right there. I was also able to feel her head. 2, 3, yes. So I was also able to feel my daughter's head. And then everybody were like, every contraction they used to tell like, come on, you can do it, but nothing was happening. And she, are you really pushing? What are you actually feeling? What are you actually doing? No mind body connection. What are you actually feeling? And those kind of questions they're asking. I badly wanted to wait in between the contractions. I wanted to at least lie down and do nothing, but I was not given the time. Yeah. Yeah, and they were advising me, like, you feel weak, you need supplements. You need to take 1 second, baby. 1 second. See, say hi, say hi, hi, say hi. Hi. Okay. Thank you. So they wanted me to take the glucose drip, so I become little active, and I can push the baby out, and they can finish their work. So this was, and I could totally understand and resonate. But I didn't want a glucose drip. I wanted to do it all by myself, and I was not okay taking. I didn't agree, and they were like, "Okay, you don't want? Okay, fine. I'll check the baby's heartbeat." This is how they'll be doing for after every contraction. There's okay. I'll check the contraction. I'll check the heartbeat now, and then they check the heartbeat. It was normal for first 2-3 hours, and after that, there were the variation started in the heartbeat. So suddenly at one point it became 170. Baby's heartbeat became 170, and she was like, "This baby wants to come out, but you are not able to push. You need help," is what she told me. And then I was like, "I'll talk to my baby." I told, "I'll talk to my baby. Please give me some time." And then I constantly, I was just manifesting. I was talking to the baby. I was just praying to the universe. If all this has happened, you're telling me that this can also happen. I was trying to come out of my self doubt. I was not totally out of it. Yeah. So I was not totally out of my self doubt. Even I still remember my mental state. Like after I pushed my baby, oh, I only did it. I only did it. I only pushed my baby. I was able to feel it. That was the kind of like, it is so deep within, like 30 years of seasoning that you can't do things by yourself. Mm. I'm sorry. 1 second, please. Mom. Yeah, that was the level of self doubt that was instilled within me. So, and then I didn't. And after my baby was like reaching 170 heartbeats, I was talking to my baby, and even immediately after the next contraction, they are measuring my heartbeat, and it was normal. 140, 130. It came down to 130, and she was surprised. Everybody was shocked actually. And then I was talking to my baby. I was keeping myself under my consciousness. And then at one point, the baby went to 90. She touched 90, and then also she came back to 150, 140, like that. So when she went to 90 and she came back, they were like telling me, "See, baby is under the normal range. Like her heartbeat is under control, but still there are a lot of variations. So this variation is not good for the baby. For some reason, this is happening. So you please take a drip and then have the baby out. So she will be at least safe. It's not good to remain there with this kind of fluctuation," is what I was advised. And then I was not okay. And I still remember, I think I zoned out a bit. I slept off or I zoned out, I don't know. Actually, that was the zone I wanted to consciously enjoy, but I was not actually able to enjoy. So that is a big gap in this pregnancy. And I was looking forward to it. Like, yeah. Yes, Nurjahan. Yeah, that is what it is actually. Yeah. That from so that moment I felt I should not be here. With the different expectations, women should not be here. Like there they are. At least set the right expectation and do what has to be done in that environment. That was my learning. At least that I should do. So at that, after some point, I felt like my husband was also like having a look that you're killing this baby. He was having that look on his face. he didn't, yeah, he was having that look literally, but he didn't say it to me. I was like, he told me, just why don't you take this as your, they as like your, they are doing it for our good. Why don't you perceive it that way and take things as it comes? Because whatever they are asking you to do is not going to cause any harm. It's your mental state, your understanding that that you're not able to accept it. Like when they were asking me to walk also, they were asking me to walk fastly, they were asking me to have some pace, and they gave me a goal, like you have to walk and you have to come back to that place to push. You should not push anywhere. I didn't expect that from BV. It was a sub, so I didn't expect that from a center, but it was actually I don't know, it was actually the nurse. And then and at last, I got used to that. When I was giving my last push, I walked and I just came to the same position by myself voluntarily, and I pushed. And I was able to feel my vagina opening and all that after the glucose drip. And I myself started believing that, okay, maybe I was exhausted, I was not having that strength, and that is why I was not able to push at initially. That was my understanding. So it was like, I don't know. And then my baby came out. She was covered with meconium and all, and blood, my blood and everything. And yeah, during one of my contractions, my water was broke, and I gave consent to everything. Like after that 4 hours of wait and everything, like during the last hour before the glucose drip, my water was broken manually, just to see if at least after that the baby is coming out, so they can at least leave their hand and take the baby out or something. Maybe she had that in mind. So but nothing of that sort happened. Luckily that nothing of that sort happened. Baby stayed there inside even after the water was broken. And then yeah, yeah, where was I? So I agreed to the glucose drip later on, and then after the glucose drip, just 15-20 minutes, everything was over, and NSU was ready. People came in. It was also busy when I was doing my last push. The birth room itself was busy, so people were there. There was a lot of hustle. Everything was like the warmer was kept ready, pediatrician was ready, everybody came in, nurses were ready. Just when the baby was out, pediatrician was inside. And immediately the cord was cut, and baby was given to the pediatrician, and then I was put back to bed. I was not happy with what was happening, but still I was trying to process it, because again, I was able to process this because it was my choice. Nobody forced me. Even my husband didn't force me. So I opted for the, like, what to say, whichever would be less worse according to me. That's all. That was my thought process, because even if I had a successful home, I don't know how my postpartum will go. Who'll know? Like, they'll constantly haunt me saying, you had your home birth, but you could have killed your baby. They'll constantly say, keep telling this word, and it will be like a torture to me. So I didn't want that to happen. At least I wanted my husband to be in alignment, because if he is in alignment, at least he will take care of certain things to a certain level, and then I can handle the rest. So still I'm not out of that seeking validation from at least my husband. So I'm not yet there. So I need to save some peace so I can bring my children up properly, and I can also save some peace of mind for myself. And that is why I left. That is another reason. So, and then I went, and then for placenta to come out, they didn't even wait for 15 minutes. I was told they'll wait for at least 45 minutes, but immediately everything was done. They injected. I told I don't want pitocin. My husband was like, please take. With that expression, nobody is going to stop. I had told him, please, you have to advocate. Please ask them not to do. Nothing was working, because and another reason is I refused glucose. My labor didn't happen as it has to happen, or as they expected. But after the glucose drip, I myself started thinking, okay, we should have opted for glucose drip earlier. That was my state of mind at that point. So how will other people think? They were already suggesting glucose drip for me. So now they will all feel that they were right. And so I felt like no use talking to anybody here. So we will just, okay, we'll just shake our head. That's all. And also, I don't have energy to say no, advocate for myself and all. Things are happening, let it happen. And I was also not happy with this NICU. My mind was constantly thinking if this is a good choice or not. Did we make the right decision or not? Was the baby really needing it? And things like that. And then after some time, the pediatrician came. When I was after I was sutured, I was sutured for my natural tears. I asked like, should this suturing also, is this suturing also required? I don't want suturing, I told. And then, Hare Baba, you please take it. And then I was like, okay, okay, do whatever you want. That's all. I just and then my husband was holding my hand again, and he was telling me, please take it, no issues. It's just stitches, right? And then I was like, who, who? I'm going to pee after this. I'm going to have all the problem. How? And I was not having energy to talk all this to him in front of all the nurses. So I just kept quiet. And then pediatrician came, and then he was telling like the baby had in is having lower pH levels. She had inhaled a lot of maternal blood is there in her lungs. And then this could cause infection in the circulatory. I still don't get the entire picture actually. So this could cause infection in the circulatory system in future for her. We have cleaned her stomach. We have done many things like all the cleaning is done, and we have sent her blood to the culture report, and it will come after 48 hours. And then we are going to keep your baby under observation for 6 hours at least, so we can ensure nothing is there. And baby is crying now. She didn't cry when she came out, so but her eyes was wide open, and her hands were also open. She was so beautiful. I can't forget that moment. But yeah, so I was not able to be with her for 6 to 7 hours. And I asked them, how about feeding? What are you going to do for feeding? Luckily, they told like glucose IV. At that point, formula or expressed breast milk in a glass, all that I didn't want to do. I wanted to latch her, and I wanted to experience that directly. So the glucose IV sounded better than all these options. So I was like, okay, glucose, okay, fine. You're anyway going to do a lot of things in NICU to her. This is okay. This pain, let her take this pain for 7 hours. We will do direct breastfeeding. So that is only good for our baby, and everything happened. And then after 7 8 hours, she was brought to me. She latched immediately. I was worried if she will latch or not and all that. But she beautifully latched, and she started drinking milk. And I was so happy. I wanted to tandem feed my elder one and younger one. Elder one, she's like totally onto feeding. She relies on for everything. She relies on feeding only, for sleep, for mood swing, anything. If she's happy, she's sad, she wants to breastfeed. And that has been my help, because since I was anxious during my first pregnancy, my first daughter, she's a very anxious person. She's like, we could see that like very, very evidently. All that negativity is there with her. So breastfeeding is the only thing that is helping her and me. So I don't want to give that up. With the second one, yeah, I was happy she started feeding well. And then my daughter came, she visited me. And after the delivery, after the suturing, we had a very good sleep. After that sleep, people were coming, inquiring me now and then, are you feeling good? How I know you didn't have the expected labor experience. Uh, how are you processing this birth and all that? Like every midwife, so everyone were asking me to do. So everybody were asking me this, and I was like, I just feel bad for not taking the glucose drip earlier. Uh, And then they were like, no, no, you don't be hard on yourself. Maybe you needed this time to navigate through your needs, your self-doubt and all that. So don't feel sorry for delaying the glucose trip, is what they were telling. And then, but for 3 days, like I had a very good bath and sit bath, food, everything was good. The ambience, everything was good. Whatever a postpartum mother needs, no, that peace of mind, that silence, everything was there. So I badly needed that. I am sure even if I had a home birth, I wouldn't get that in my home. So I needed that environment badly. So I felt good. Okay, okay, fine. At least this is there. At least this is there for me. So I was there, and then we stayed there for 3 days because the report of my daughter, it took 2 days. So 3 days we had to stay there in BB. Yeah, yeah, we had a good time. Then after that we returned home. After 2-3 days of returning home, my husband told me, like, you always wanted to have things under control. You always wanted to control everything. You would have, like, you costed your daughter's life. Like, even if it went bit late, maybe she would have suffered even more things. From all these IV fluids, antibiotics that was given to her via IV could have been overcome if you had a glucose drip earlier. And I was like explaining him like, see, after the water is broken, we can wait for hours. We can wait for several hours. We can even wait for days. Yeah, we have heard a birth story in Chennai, like from a mother who home births in Chennai, where she said like, she heard a birth story, like, that mother when she was giving birth, the baby's head came out, the baby's body is out, but the baby's legs are not yet out, or only a portion of the baby is out. After a day, they waited for the entire day for the baby to turn and come out, and they had a successful home birth. So I was, this story she told me when I asked her this question, like, how did you gather that confidence and patience to give birth at home, that too in Chennai, being in Chennai? I asked this question. At that point she told me, we went and visited many home birthing mothers around Tamil Nadu during my pregnancy. um, her husband is really good. He was so supportive. He was that kind of support if every woman has, like, we can have a very good home birth. But if we don't have that, it's better we don't have a home birth, because people are going to torture you with a lot of words. And after hearing that story, I was totally taken back. And that is the kind of perseverance and patience a mother should have to give birth at home. And that perseverance and patience will come automatically. They will be, it is all within. It will come only when people are supportive of it. If people around you, the very near and dear, are going to judge you, we will be emotionally down, and that is not going to help us. So I was like so amazed by that story. And I told my husband, like, we have heard the story, right? So baby can stay there. Why should we hurry the process? This question was running in my mind during labor, and that could have stalled the progress as well, or that could have exhausted me as well. And he was like, I know that could have exhausted you, but you are in a place and you know it is time bound. You should take steps, whatever has to be done, you should ensure that it is done. I was like, I don't know, I was not okay with that conversation. And uh, we are still not yet resolved with our conflicts or fight. We are still with that. We are living with that just for the sake of children. And yeah, it's kind of broken now. It's kind of broken now. It is like a typical relationship. So we are living with that. So I don't know. And then I was like, I'm still having one question which I'm not able to process is, will this kind of exhaustion happen in a home birth? This is a very big question. If a exhaustion happens, how the mother will know? Because this is the question my husband is asking me. How will you handle this exhaustion when you are at home? You didn't sleep for 2 nights with contraction, and that is the reason for your tiredness, and that is the reason you were not able to push. But I got a beautiful answer from my friend Janani. She was like, she's already undergoing something, but she read my birth story and she is giving me this answer. That is the beauty how she is processing. Like, she is the strongest woman I've ever met. A woman in her situation, if I were her, I don't know if I will be able to process my own birth story and then process others' birth story. I wouldn't have done that. But she gave me a beautiful answer. See, if you were at home, you would have taken rest. Maybe you would have slept, you would have eaten, you would have drunk, like whatever you need, you would have done. You wouldn't have hurried your contractions or the sensation to push or something. You wouldn't have done that. You would have had your nutrition. You would have slept. Maybe baby stayed there with the water bags intact, because water bag didn't break on its own. It was broken by the care provider. So you would have had your own time, and when the time came, the baby would have come out, and you would have had the urge to push. Only thing is, it would have costed some more time and your patience. That's all. So she was like undoubtedly, like what to say. Even though I know it's deeper than true, I don't know. I don't know how to take that. So that is all. This is the thing. So this is the reality. So if the takeaway from my story is the takeaway from my story for myself is, uh first of all, we should have aligned people for home birth. If we don't have that, we ourselves are confused with what to do, or will be able to do this. And if we are not confident enough, it's better to go to some other place where we will be supported, at least better than hospital. But at the same time, we should go with a mindset to accept whatever is happening there. If that mindset is not there, it's better to stay at home and do it all by ourselves. So this will be the takeaway from my story. Like, this is the realization that I had. And to say, I regret not calling Tapasya that day. I didn't call her for two reasons. One thing is, I didn't want my husband to forcefully call her, because he was not for it. So if he does it on my like, if he does it forcefully, it will reflect on various other aspects later on. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to put him in an uncomfortable situation. Second thing is, I didn't want him to say, what to say, judge my friend Tapasya. She's more than my friend. I don't want that to happen. So if anything goes wrong, I didn't want anything to go to her. So because, yeah, that is the reason. These are the two things. I didn't call her because of that. So maybe if I had called her, she would have given me insights. Things would have been little different on how to handle, how to wave through it. I was not in a position to call. But yeah, everything is over. All is good. I am processing my birth story. So it's all good. I'm happy.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya, to be like so open and raw, in whatever sense you felt to narrate your story. Thank you so much once again.
No issues. Thank you for listening.
Anyone, any questions for her? Tapasya is not there. Otherwise, she would have, we would have invited her to speak on, what was her takes. But definitely, as you said, that it needs a lot of support from the spouse. And I've seen the woman whom her husband is not supporting, and how she has to arrange and
Yes.
arrange things for everyone, for herself. And at the end, how much a woman can do, isn't it? So somewhere or the
Yes.
other, she needs to submit to something or someone or
Yes.
some ideology, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is what I have understood. Yeah. So any questions, sisters? Uh, I think everyone is spellbound to your story and narration.
I can share a little bit. Uh, since I had my first birth there at Birth Village, and then I've had. Am I audible? Yeah. Hello.
Yes, you're audible, Saman.
Okay, okay. So I had my first birth at Birth Village, and at that point of time, I was extremely disillusioned by, of course, the mainstream hospitals. We had met over a dozen doctors. Then we chose, we kind of had to really convince everybody to let us go to one second. To convince us to convince everybody to allow us, to go, because birth is you can't do it all by yourself in that sense of the word, and especially the first time around, everything is so uncertain. Our family was like, we have to come along. So when I went to Birth Village, my parents were there, my cousin was there with her 1 year old. So it was like, we had the whole family. We lived there for 2 months. We had a good time. But I remember now my day of labor. It started around midnight. I'm not going to go in details, but I saw a lot of parallels with what Aishwarya was sharing today. I wanted to have a water birth. When I went to the birth center in the morning, they said I was about 4 centimeters dilated. So they asked me to go back home. So I went home. In another couple of hours, I felt that I had really progressed. And like Aishwarya mentioned, my parents were more worried at home. So I felt I would be in a better space at the center, where I wouldn't be asked questions. And I don't have to worry about somebody else worrying about me, because I just wanted to focus on the birth. So I went to the center and they said I was about 7, 8 centimeters dilated. So I did progress, and I was getting into the active phase of labor, but I was already tired by that time because it had been 10, 11 hours. And I wanted to get into water. And they kept discouraging me this is too early to go into water. Uh, and you should only go into water when you're almost about to push. But I instinctively, I think I needed to rest and I wanted to go. So then they said that you can only go in water once. So if you choose to go now, then you can't do it later. If you don't progress and have your baby now in the water, then once you come out, you can't say, I want to go back in water. So, now when I think about it, I mean, it was very strange. I mean, them putting that thing on me, um, shirt, that you can only do it once. Uh, but anyway, and then they said you have to complete like 200 steps before we let you go into water. So I was like Aishwarya was saying that they were making me do a lot of things, like walk this much. And then I was having my contractions on the stairs and I was so tired and exhausted. And I said, no, I have to go in water. And when I went in water, I remember just going to sleep. For 3 hours, I had Surya Yasin playing on the speakers, and I remember just spacing out and going to sleep. And I really needed that rest and pause in my labor. And but after say about 2 hours, they said your contractions have spaced out. They were more consistent and frequent before, and your labor is not progressing. So you have to come out now. And so when I came out, I found out that I was completely dilated, but they couldn't allow me to be in water anymore. And like now, all these words allow and all these things have a very different meaning in my head. But at that point, when you fight the entire world and then choose your support team, then you don't want to fight your support team also, you know, and not at least at that point in your, birthing journey when you're just about to have the baby. And so I think I was completely dilated by 5 p.m., but the baby was yet to come. I wanted to rest. They wanted me to do things, and I was doing things, and it was exhausting me more. And then there came a point when they said we should give you glucose. And I don't know, but I have a feeling that they may have administered pitocin through that IV. I don't know. I never checked, but I do know two people who also birthed at birth village, who later, when they saw their discharge summary, found out that there was pitocin administered, which they were not aware of. So, but anyway, since I don't know the truth, I couldn't find my discharge summary records. I tried looking for them. Um, so I wouldn't know for sure, but I remember feeling so exhausted, and but I was feeling fine. Like I didn't feel there was anything wrong. And then there came a moment when Priyanka said, she just leaned over me and she said, um, we only have two options, that either we'll have to transfer you to a hospital and use forceps, or we will have to do an episiotomy. And then at that point I said, do whatever you think is best. So because we have chosen you, we trust your choice. And then she said, okay, we'll go ahead with the episiotomy. So they cut me up, and in the next 2 minutes the baby was out. So yeah, to cut the long story short, all of these interventions happened. Now I still had a very beautiful birth. I love my baby and everything. Also, another thing that I'd like to point out, even though I can never deny that they gave me a choice. They did not force me to do anything. But I was told that, there is a vitamin K shot which must be administered 10 hours after before 10 hours the baby was born. And, it was coming from a team and team of people that we trusted. And even though we did not want to get into vaccines, at all. Um I remember just having this conversation with Karan, my husband, and saying, why would they mislead us? Uh, they must be trying to do us good. If they are advising for something, let's and it has to be done now. So I don't want to. And we ended up getting the vitamin K shot, and that's the only vaccine that my daughter has got. And of course, my other three children have not been vaccinated at all. But this thing, in that space and time, when you are most vulnerable, like Aishwarya said, you need to actually be very sure of the people you have around, because you don't know how things turn at that point. Um, Unless, of course, because with my subsequent births, I did learn to just look within, and not be dependent on anyone else except for Allah. Tapasya Appa also had a huge role to play in terms of, she gave me the resources and the knowledge that reiterated my belief in myself that I will be able to do it by myself, even if I didn't have anyone. But that is what it is. You don't need anyone to be there, because you have been designed to do this by Allah Almighty. But there may be people that you would want, you would want their presence, so you feel more supported and held in that moment. So, Aishwarya, I mean, it has taken me four births. I had my last was a free birth, and it has been very, very freeing in so many ways. I haven't still written it down, and Sneha and I can talk about it someday on some Sunday.
Yes.
Um, but for now, I mean, Aishwarya, I'm very proud of you for all the hard work that you put in to make the right choices. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but I know the kind of efforts you have put into your motherhood journey. Um, and that is what makes a difference. So don't ever put yourself in the, okay, I wish this was different or that was different or whatever. Everything is happening for a reason. And I'm so happy that Sneha is recording these conversations, because कहीं से भी कहीं किसी को भी inspiration मिल जाती है. So that may be the reason why you went through something, because this message needs to reach. And what I really also appreciate that you were very objective in your expression. The times when you felt kind of cheated by the birthing center, you expressed it. But when you felt supported, you also expressed that. And that is how it is.
Yeah.
You know, that is how life is. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much, Saman.
Thank you so much, Saman. Actually, the only thing is, I had to decide, like, whatever I did. I knew all these things might happen. I knew, and it was with total awareness. Um, yeah, I could resonate many things with you. Whatever you told now, like a lot of things actually. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Like everybody has a role actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. This is birth is beautiful, pregnancy is beautiful. Like you said, all this is happening for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, my story is like that big to get inspired and all. But it has one takeaway. Whatever we decide, just at least we should ensure that we are deciding it and we are okay with it. And yeah, yeah, I don't know. Women need to, like, including me, whenever Sanjana shares certain messages, I feel like every woman should be reach this stage so we can be totally independent. But yeah, I think it is really difficult to navigate and reach that point. I don't know. Yeah, if we are like that, no, everything will follow us.
Yeah.
That is our power. But it's really very hard. We are not seasoned that
From
way. At least
confusion
me.
state, you really came to a state now you are into this that yeah, I know what I'm doing, and I've accepted
Yeah,
who
yeah,
I am.
yeah.
So that's the
Yes.
learning, and that's what we want to grow, right? As humans, we need to grow,
Yeah.
and only our
Yeah.
experiences help with that. So Noor Jahan also had a very empowering VBAC. So she's saying that it's an honor to know these women. Thank you so much for joining
Mm.
in, and I hope that this story reaches to many, and whoever wants to take things for themselves. So decision making can be more easier. That's what is
Yes.
not the intention of these story circles. So thank you so much
Yes.
once again. See you next time, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye bye.